Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are tackling a classic, and I mean classic, database headache. You know the one where your crucial data extraction process just grinds your live system to a halt? We're going to explore a really elegant solution from SQLShack that uses a native SQL Server feature to completely, and I mean completely, change the game.
So let me ask you something, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer for a lot of you. Is your ETL process just absolutely killing your live database performance? You know the drill. You've got these essential jobs that have to run, your extract, transform, and load processes. But every single time they kick off, the help desk phone starts ringing. Users are complaining, the app is slow, what's going on? Yeah, it's a familiar pain for sure.
All right, so to really appreciate just how cool this solution is, we've got to get our hands dirty and diagnose the problem first. It all starts with a super common, and let's be honest, pretty problematic setup that basically puts your reporting needs in a head-to-head battle with your live users.
Think about it like this. Your live database, it's a busy highway, bumper to bumper, right at 5 p.m. rush hour. And your ETL process, well, that's a massive road construction project, shutting down 3 lanes. And what's the typical approach? To start that construction project right in the middle of rush hour. Yeah, you can already see where this is going. Total gridlock.
So what does that gridlock look like in our database world? Well, it means your ETL process connects directly to your live operational databases, the ones handling orders, sales, you name it. And to pull all that data, it starts slapping on heavy table locks, row locks, basically bringing everything to a screeching halt for anyone who's actually trying to, use the system.
Okay. Enough doom and gloom about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. Because there is a much smarter way to architect this whole flow. And the best part? It uses a tool that's already built right into SQL Server. It's time to bring in the hero of our story.
And that hero is SQL Server Replication. At its heart, it's a technology that's all about copying and distributing data from one database to another. You've got what's called a publisher, that's your original source, and a subscriber, which gets a synchronized copy. This is the magic key, because it lets us create a dedicated clone of our data that's just for all that heavy lifting our ETL process needs to do.
And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. Look at the difference. The old way, your ETL is hammering your live databases, which means you're hammering your users. The smart way, the ETL process hits a replicated copy. Your live databases, they don't feel a thing. Your users, they're happy. We're literally going from a high-impact, painful process to a zero-impact one. So let's go back to our highway analogy. What have we really done here? We've built a dedicated service road just for our ETL construction crew. By creating this intermediate replication database, all that heavy work, all that noise and dust happens over on the service road. It never, ever interferes with the main highway where all the live traffic is flowing. It's brilliant.
But, and this is a really important but, you can't just flip a switch and call it a day. The real power, the thing that makes this architecture really sing, comes from getting a few critical and maybe not so obvious configuration details just right.
First things first, you got to pick the right kind of replication. Right off the bat, snapshot replication, not going to work for this. Merge replication, you want to avoid that one too, because it adds extra triggers and columns to your tables, which is just messy. That leaves us with the perfect choice for this job, transactional replication. There is one little catch though. Your tables have to have a primary key, but most well-designed tables do, so that's usually not a big deal.
All right, so let's break down the 4 critical steps for a truly rock-solid setup. Number 1, use a separate server for your distributor. You don't want that workload on your main server. Number 2, like we just said, choose transactional replication. Now the last 2 are super important and really easy to miss, so let's zoom in on those.
And this brings us to an absolutely critical point. You have got to make sure you copy the indexes from your source tables over to the destination. Believe it or not, this isn't always the default. If you skip this step, the replication process itself will be incredibly slow. You'll have just traded one performance bottleneck for a brand new one. You don't want to do that.
Okay, here's another gotcha that can trip you up. It's all about avoiding table name collisions. Just imagine, you've got an employee table in your orders database. You've also got an employee table in your sales database. And yep, another one in your attendance database. When you try to replicate all of them to one single destination database, you've got a problem. You can't have 3 tables with the exact same name in the same place.
Thankfully, the solution is beautifully simple, but it is so important. Inside the replication setup, you can actually rename the destination tables. A really common and smart way to do this is to just prefix the table name with its original database. So the employee table from orders becomes orders_employee. The one from sales becomes sales_employee. Boom, problem solved. Every table is now unique.
All right, so we've done the work. We've set up this slick new architecture, and we've nailed all the configurations. Now it's time for the best part, the victory lap. Let's look at the payoff and see exactly how this solves all those headaches we started with.
This new setup gives us 3 huge wins. First, because replication is an asynchronous process, it's not happening in real time, which means no more locking up your live systems. Second, your ETL and your operational systems are now completely decoupled. They live in separate worlds. And third, and this is a big one for long-term sanity, future maintenance becomes so much easier. Need to move an operational database to a new server? No problem. You just update the replication publication. You don't have to touch a single line of your ETL code. That's a game changer.
So what's the bottom line here? The big takeaway is that you have successfully created this protective isolation layer. It's a buffer zone that shields your critical applications and, more importantly, your users from all that heavy-duty data processing. The main highway is finally clear for traffic.
So, this powerful technique of decoupling systems is an amazing fix for the ETL performance headache, but it leaves us with one final and I think really important question to chew on. Now that you have this tool in your toolbox, what other parts of your architecture are crying out for this same kind of smart, strategic separation?